All right, so make sure we're updating your table of contents. A couple of us are still finishing that up. All right. All right, do you have a pencil, Taylor? Make sure I get it back, okay? All right, let's look at our first item of the day, which is going to be our notes. And this is number 11. Let's make sure you put your name, and this is number 11. All right, guys, we've actually done this before. All right, we did this, I think, last week, like maybe last Monday. But it's been a while, so I wanted us to kind of go back and just mention it again. Please remember, we're looking for the area of the shaded figure, which is this rectangle that's going around it. If I do that entire large rectangle, that's going to give me all of this space. Am I looking for the area of all of that red space? No. What is it that I need to do to find just that shaded gray part? Sarah Paige?
You find the area of the white one and then subtract it from
Very good. So she said, I'm going to have to subtract. I'm going to have to take away that white shape on the inside. Do y'all agree with that? All right. So what mathematical operation lets me take something away? Dylan? Subtraction. So yesterday and the day before we saw that if two shapes are next to each other, we're going to add them. But here, if I'm taking a shape out, that's going to be my subtraction. All right? So the way that we're going to do that, guys, is we're going to focus on our outside shape first. And I call it the outside because it's wrapped around that inside shape. So we're going to do our outside shape first. And on some shapes, on number 1, it's pretty obvious, but on some shapes, we'll see in a minute, that it might be helpful to outline that. Again, number 1, this is really unnecessary. It's pretty obvious. It's a rectangle. All right, but there's my outside shape. What formula am I going to use for my outside shape? Chandler. A equals LW. Guys, we've been doing a lot of LW. Today you're going to go back to parallelograms. If it is not a rectangle and it is a parallelogram, can you use LW? No. I'm going to remind you of that when I hand you your homework in a minute, okay? So A equals, what is my length and width here, Chandler? 5 times 12 or 12 times 5. So my area is going to be 60. 60 centimeters squared. So that's the outside shape. Are we okay with that? All right, so let's look at our inside shape. So I'm going to label that inside because the more organized I keep my work, the easier it is to work, to do. And the easier it is for someone else to grade, i.e. your teacher. All right, for the inside shape, Kelly, I saw your hand earlier. What formula do I need for my inside rectangle? Area equals length times width. A equals LW. And Kelly, what's going to be my length and width on the inside? 8 times 3. Make sure you're writing this down with me, Taylor, please. So I get A equals, what does that give me when I do that? 8 times 3, Kelly? 24. Perfect. 24 centimeters squared. I like how you added that in. All right. So what do you think my last step is going to be? Now, what is it that I need to do with these? Jacob? I'm going to subtract. So guys, all I'm going to do, and it's going to look a little janky, I'm just going to put a minus sign there. Do y'all see where I put a minus sign? All right, so I'm doing 60 minus 24. Now, normally I wouldn't want that A equals there, so this is not necessarily proper mathematical notation, okay? I'm taking a little shortcut. That is a big word. So proper means like the correct way. That one's obvious, right? Mathematical notation, what that just means is the correct way to write math. Like A equals 60 centimeters minus A equals 24 centimeters. Is that the correct way to write math? No, so I'm taking a little bit of a shortcut. Y'all okay with my shortcut? All right, so then I'm going to put equals. And when I subtract 60 minus 24, what do I get, Chandler? 36 centimeters squared. And guys, that's my area. All I'm doing is finding the separate ones and subtracting them. So This is a lot easier than those composite figures, isn't it? Do I have to pick my shapes at all? No, they're given to me. I don't have to pick my shapes. They're already there. Did I have to find any measurements? No. All right. Let's look at number 2. Number 2. So again, remember we're talking about the outside. This is a great example of when outlining it might be helpful. Because if I look at just the outside shape, what shape is on the outside? A triangle, but it's one big triangle, right? Do I care about like those 3 little dark triangles? Do I care about those? No, I only care about the big one that is on the outside. So outside. All right, what formula do I need for that outside shape? What formula do I need here? Jenny. Claudius, think about that. Outside is a triangle. Perfect. Divided by 2. And guys, here's my tip for you. Triangle and trapezoid start with a T, so don't forget your 2. Triangle and trapezoid start with a T, just like the number 2, don't they? Triangle and trapezoid, you have to divide by 2. So if it starts with a T, don't forget the 2 to divide by, okay? All right. So outside, area equals. All right, my base is kind of tricky. Abby, what am I going to do to find the base of that triangle?
You're going to add 5 centimeters.
How did you know to put 5, 4, and 5 together?
Because they're all on the bottom.
Perfect. They're all on the bottom. To find out this entire length, we're going to add them up. So 5, 4, and 5 gives me 14. And what is the height of that triangle going to be, Dalton? 10 centimeters divided by 2. And Dalton, that was too easy. Can you give me that area now? What am I going to get when I multiply and divide by 2? $70. So I get 70 centimeters squared. Guys, if someone's working it out and you stick your hand up, I'm not going to magically call on you. Give them a second to get it figured out. Alright. Alright, so my inside shape. What shape? I don't know why I circled that, guys. Woo, what am I thinking? That is not my answer. Lost my mind. Just ignore that circling. A equals 70 centimeters squared. Okay. Inside. What shape do I have inside and what formula do I need for inside? Zach?
A trapezoid.
A trapezoid, and what formula is that going to be?
A equals B1 plus B2 times height divided by 2.
Divided by 2. Excellent. So make sure, guys, when you're doing the B1 and B2 that that's a little 1 and 2 down at the bottom. It's not a regular 1 or a regular 2. All right? So I get A equals, all right, it is a trapezoid, so make sure it starts with T, divide by 2. All right, what are my bases going to be on that trapezoid? Jacob?
6 and 4.
6 plus 4, and what's my height?
6.
6, and then we need to divide by 2. So 6 plus 4 gives me 10 times 6 divided by 2. What do I get as my answer for that area? Chandler? 30 centimeters squared. And now what do I need to do with my 2 areas here, Hannah? Subtract. So I'm going to do something really funky here. I'm going to put like my minus sign because it's 70 minus 30. And what do I get for my answer here? Luke. 40 centimeters squared. And that's the one I'm going to circle since it's actually my answer. Okay? All right, on number 3, what do you notice is different about number 3? Alexandra? I got 2 shapes on the inside. That's okay. We're still going to do outside minus inside. Not a problem. So let's look at our outside shape. Outside. I'm going to kind of do a little weird split here since I kind of worked into that territory. right, so my outside shape. All right, what shape is going to be on the outside here? Taylor Robertson? What shape is that on the outside? A trapezoid. So what formula do I need to use for my trapezoid, Diesel? What formula do I need for that trapezoid? B1? Times the height, and it starts with a T, so don't forget, divide by 2. All right, so I get A equals. All right, what are my two bases on that trapezoid going to be? What are my two bases going to be here, Daniela?
7 plus 9.
Perfect, 7 plus 9. You notice her bases weren't on the bottom because 7 and 9 are the only ones going in the same direction, all right? So what's my height, Daniela? 8, and then perfect, and then divided by 2. So I get area equals 7 plus 9 is 16 times 8 divided by 2. So what is the area on the outside going to be here? What is my outside area going to be? Sarah Page? 64 centimeters squared, all right? And now we're going to do the inside. And I've kind of squished myself into a little bit of a corner here on this last one. So I'm going to write a little small. All right? So inside, let's do that first rectangle, the long one. So let's do the long rectangle. What formula do I need for that first long shape? Grace?
A equals
We can do A equals BH. You can also do A equals LW. I like when we're doing the BH because that's going to work also for a parallelogram, all right? So A equals, what is going to be my base and height for that first long rectangle, Grace?
Wait, the base and height?
1 and 3, so 1 times 3, and then my area is 3 centimeters squared. All right? So now my second rectangle, what formula do we want to use for the second one? That's the smaller one. What formula do I want to use there, McKenna?
Length times width.
We can use length times width. Guys, do you realize that it doesn't matter which one I choose? For a rectangle? It doesn't matter. For a parallelogram, will it matter? Yep. All right, so A equals, McKenna, what's my length and width for that second one?
My length is 3 centimeters and my width is,
Perfect. So we get 3 and 2, which gives me 6 centimeters squared. All right. Now, guys, you have two options here. If you want to put those together and make it a 9, you can. What I prefer to do is just do, okay, 64 is my outside, right? Minus 3 minus 6. Because I'm just going to take away both of those from the inside. Again, if you want to just take away 9 from putting those together, you can. All right, but when I subtract that, what do I get as my final answer for number 3? Luke?
55 millimeters squared.
55 centimeters squared. All right, so there's my final answer. Are there any questions about number 3? All right, I want us to flip it over real quick. Oh, it was 55 centimeters squared. Okay. All right. For number 1, we're going to do number 1. All right. What's my outside shape? What's my outside shape formula, Dylan? Rectangle in the formula. All right. And what's my length and width? 4 times 12. Very good. Make sure we're using the 12 because it goes all the way. And my area here is 48 centimeters squared. All right. What about my inside shape? What's my formula for my inside shape going to be, Alexandra?
9 and 4.
Formula. BH over 2. So there's my formula, A equals BH over 2. And now what are my base and my height, Alexandra?
9 and 4 centimeters.
That's going to be the 9 on the bottom and the 4 that measures it from top to bottom. So what is my area for my triangle, Alexandra? 18 centimeters squared. And then what do I need to do with those two formulas now? Chandler. Subtract them. So 48 minus 18 gives me 30 centimeters squared. Okay? Do you have any questions about these? All right, I'm going to send out the answers to numbers 2 and 3 tonight. Number 4, I want us to look at that real quick. Guys, number 4 is one that people look at and they're like, oh, this looks really hard. All right, but guys, what is my outside shape here? What is my outside shape? It's a triangle, right? So on the outside, I would have A equals BH divided by 2. A equals, what is the base of the triangle? 8. And the height? 6 divided by 2. So I get that my area is 24 centimeters squared. What shape am I taking away from the inside? We're taking away, guys, the triangle. Remember, you're finding the shaded area, so I've got to take away the triangle. All right? So my inside would also be A equals base times height divided by 2. So y'all see those two little marks right here? What do those marks mean? That they're the same. They look like little equal signs, don't they? Because they are equal signs, basically, all right? So that means that my 8 can be split equally into 4 and 4. So what is the base of my little triangle? 4 times 3 divided by 2. So area equals 4 times 3 divided by 2 is 6 centimeters squared. And if I subtract those, that gives me 18 centimeters squared. Now, guys, some of y'all noticed there was actually an easier way to do this. Yes, it gave me 2 different colors. But, guys, what shape was that shaded color? It was one trapezoid. So could I have just done a trapezoid? Yes, if I add 6 plus 3, that gives me 9, times 4, which is the height, which is 36, divided by 2 is 18. So it gives me the exact same answer, all right? All right, I'm going to pass out your homework, but before I do, I want to mention a couple of things, especially for anyone watching the video, okay? On your homework, for one, there is no 4. I skipped 4. Don't worry about it. There's no 4. Not a big deal, okay? I want us to mark out number 9. So number 9 we're not going to do. All right, so when you get yours, you're going to mark number 9 out. Guys, number 8, I promise you there is one of these on your test. So on number 8, this is the problem that everyone came up and said, I don't know how to do it, but they didn't have anything written down. Write your formula. Write what you know. Draw your line and do the opposite, because you see where it tells me my area? Remember, if it tells you the area, we're going to be doing the opposite, okay? All right, you're also going to mark out number 12 because that triangle comes out wonky. So, there's no number 4. You're marking out 2 problems. That's really only 9 problems for you to do tonight. I'm going to pass that out for you to get started. You should have some time to get a lot of it done.